Welcome back to the Naxxramas Raid Guide. In this video I'll be covering Loatheb, the final encounter in the Plague Wing. My name's Ciderhelm from TankSpot, and like the rest of these videos, these are intended for full raids rather than just for tanks, so feel free to repost them to your guild forums. The most critical thing to understand throughout this encounter is how healing works, or rather how it doesn't work. Every 20 seconds, Loatheb will cast a 17-second debuff called Necrotic Aura on the raid. This reduces all healing by 100%, including heals from bandages, healthstones, and potions. Throughout the encounter, the entire raid will be taking AoE damage, but while Necrotic Aura is active, they will not be able to heal through it. After 17 seconds, there is a 3-second window until the next Necrotic Aura is applied. During this time, healers need to top off the tank, themselves, and ideally the rest of the raid. The DPS can also be responsible for using healthstones, potions, and even a couple bandage ticks if necessary, on themselves to help with this. For druids in particular, you're going to want to time your life blooms to hit immediately after the Necrotic Aura fades. Loatheb will be dealing relatively minor AoE damage for the first 2 minutes of this encounter in the form of Death Bloom, which bursts damage when it wears off, similar to the way Life Bloom bursts healing. After 2 minutes, he also begins casting Inevitable Doom, and this is going to go off every 30 seconds. This is a raid-wide shadow damage attack. At the 5-minute marker, Loatheb is going to begin casting his Inevitable Dooms every 15 seconds instead of 30. And this is meant to act like an enrage timer, though it's sustainable beyond this point as long as the tank and the healers stay alive throughout this. The second major component to this encounter is the spores you'll see spawning into the room. When killed, these spores buff 5 nearby players with a 50% increased crit chance, as well as causing them to generate 0 threat. This allows Loatheb, who has an unusually large health pool, to be killed in a reasonable amount of time. The best way to handle these spores is to have each party go in succession to kill them. The first spore will be killed when Party 1 is on top of it, the second spore when Party 2 is, and for 25 mans the other parties will come after that. You should have one person from each party assigned to call out when their party needs to kill a spore, and where it is, to coordinate this as quickly as possible. Depending on how concerned you are for DPS, particularly in the 25-man, the parties killing the spores should be organized by highest DPS first to maximize DPS output. When killing a spore, make sure all the DPS are in range of the spore first. They have very low life, and killing them prematurely can have a significant impact on raid DPS. Finally, when Loatheb is close to death, your DPS doesn't necessarily need to get their next spores. The spores do spawn faster than the debuff wears off, and skipping the last one doesn't mean the debuff will wear off in time. Thank you for watching TankSpot's Guide to Loatheb. If you have any questions at all, regardless of whether you're a tank or not, please feel free to stop by tankspot.com and ask.